Oh, no. Hang on a second. All right. We'll get started in just a second. I think we've had a couple technical difficulties. All right. We're live.
Okay.
Barry, if somebody wanted to contact you, the best email is
Barry, Barry, at visitsumnertn.com. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to show it. There we go. Let's see. Contact Barry at visitsumnertn.com.
That's it.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to give this a share. It looks like we've got a few people watching with us. And if you want to share it too, you can. And then we'll get started.
Okay.
All right. We'll get started in 10, and then we'll get started. If you're watching along with us, you can certainly say hello and let us know you're here. That's the only way we know that you're here, if you say hello. All right, I'm going to share it one more place, and then we'll get the show rolling.
Let's get this road on the show.
All right, one more share. All right. Oh, look, we have a watcher. Hi, Kathy. Welcome. We'll go ahead and get started. It looks like we've got some folks watching with us. We took a week off last week from the C Show. Just we had some other things going on, and we got a lot of our chamber events back to business. But we're excited to be back again, bringing you the C Show. I'm Kim Baker at the Gallatin Chamber. If you're watching for the first time, the C Show exists to support, educate, and engage our member businesses and the Gallatin community, just as the Gallatin Chamber does. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine and a very special guest, Barry Young with Sumner County Tourism, or Visit Sumner TN if you can find them on social media. Welcome, Barry.
Thanks, Kim. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining us. We know it's kind of been a wild time for tourism in Sumner County and really everywhere, but I'm starting to see some new campaigns launch statewide. And then, like the chamber, I see tourism kind of starting to happen again in Sumner County. So if you would share a little bit about what's going on and, kind of some forecasting.
Okay, great. Well, as you said, things are starting to pick up a little bit around here and across the state of Tennessee. The tourism and hospitality industry was really hit hard, as all industries were, but especially the hospitality industry with all the hotels and restaurants and attractions that had to close down. But we are seeing some life now. Things are starting to come back. And as you said, the state is starting to broadcast, to share their marketing campaign to get people back into the state of Tennessee. And actually, this past weekend, we did a video shoot with our good friend Elizabeth Suter across the county, and we are highlighting outdoor activities that you can do in Sumner County. Of course, we're blessed to have all kinds of things to do, and what we're told is as visitors start to come back, most of them are going to be driving here from 2 or 3 hours away, and they're going to be looking for things to do outdoors. So that's kind of what we're hitting on right now.
Awesome. We're really fortunate here in Gallatin and Sumner County to have so many great things to do outdoors. Let's talk for a minute, for those maybe who are watching and just aren't familiar with some of our assets here in the community, or might not, we live here, so some of them might not think of things as tourism destinations that people would come visit, things that maybe you and I use all the time. So let's talk a little bit about some of those attractions here in Sumner County.
Well, there are three main things that we promote in our marketing campaigns. The first one is scenic beauty, which of course includes Old Hickory Lake, but it also includes our golf courses, our parks, our farms, our greenways, and we have those spread all throughout the county. Let's see. Then we promote our historic sites. And not only do we have a lot of historic sites, but we have a lot of historic sites that have a lot of acreage and property with them, so you can enjoy the grounds of a lot of our historic sites across the county. And then, of course, we promote our music heritage. And, of course, Johnny and June Carter Cash are buried at Hendersonville Memory Gardens, which is outside, and Conway Twitty is buried there in Sumner Memorial Gardens, right there in front of the Civic Center. So music fans, believe it or not, they come here from all over the world to view the grave sites of those stars, and also to view, where Conway Twitty lived in his mansion there at what was known as Twitty City. Now it's TBN, and of course, Johnny and June Carter's house that burned down there on Caudill Drive in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Which I think I saw last week that it's up for sale again. Is that true?
It is. It's up for sale again. Actually, I think a gentleman bought it.
Okay.
My understanding, a resident of Sumner County has purchased it, and he plans to live in it. He's going to rebuild and live in the house there on the Cash property, as far as we know.
I like it. Let's talk a little bit about a great impact we've experienced is tournaments. I know you and your team spend a lot of time recruiting tournaments to the area, and then also helping organize those and facilitate them once they're here. Of course, those, like a lot of other things, have kind of paused for a little while. But talk a little bit about tournaments, what's going on with that, and then why they matter to our community.
Great question. We are blessed to have, speaking of outdoor activities, I left out about the sport. Well, I mentioned parks. Our Triple Creek Park and Lock 4 Park and Drakes Creek Park, and we have several others in the county that have a lot of athletic fields. And we do try to recruit. We work with the parks departments across the county to try to recruit tournaments Now, of course, with the current orders that we're under, there are certain sports that are considered close contact, such as soccer and lacrosse and a few other ones that we're not quite able to bring the tournaments back yet. But we've got the green light now for softball and baseball and a few others. So, of course, Triple Creek's got plenty of ball fields over there, and Drakes Creek has plenty of ball fields. So what we do is we try to connect sports organizations that are looking for places to have tournaments with our local parks departments, and hope that we can bring in tournaments. Of course, in the world we live in right now, we've had a lot of tournaments canceled. We've had a lot of tournaments postponed. For example, Tennessee United Soccer had to cancel or postpone their tournament in the spring. We've had to cancel a Lacrosse America tournament that we have. But the good news is that, I went to some of the parks with Elizabeth videoing this last weekend, and the parks are alive and well. There are lots of softball and baseball games going on, and tournaments are coming back here, which is great news. Now, how does that help Sumner County? How does that help your viewers? Well, it helps in several ways. Number one, a lot of the teams that come to these tournaments are from out of town, and they have to stay here in our hotels, which helps our hotel, our businesses, our restaurants, our shops, our attractions, believe it or not, our gas stations. When somebody drives in here with a sports tournament, they're going to have to fill up their car with gas when they leave. So they leave a lot of money here for the local economy, not only for our local businesses, our hotels, restaurants, and so forth, but also they have to pay sales tax. And when they pay sales tax, that tax, of course, some of that tax goes to the state and some of it stays here. And I don't know, I've always found this very interesting after it was explained to me, Kim, and I'm sure you know this, but maybe some of your viewers would be interested. Our sales tax on a regular basis is 9.25% in Sumner County, right? So let's just say, I always use this example because I witnessed it myself. I was in Walmart one night, and I saw a girls softball team come running in there, and they were getting candy and Cokes, and some of them forgot their toothbrushes, and they had to buy several things at Walmart. And I thought, wow, I can see it firsthand here. These out-of-town visitors are spending their money here in Sumner County. So when they go to Walmart and buy some stuff, just for example, they pay 9.25% sales tax, right? So the state of Tennessee gets 7%, but that leaves 2.25% remaining. So what happens is the city where that transaction took place. So let's just say they're in Gallatin at the Walmart. So the city of Gallatin government will receive 1.125% of that sales tax, and then Sumner County government receives the other 1.125%. I think I said that right. So it benefits the county and the city, and what they can do is the county can spend that on roads and schools and things for the entire county and for the community, and then the city can do the same there in the city of Gallatin. So it really benefits the community to have visitors come in and spend their money.
It really does. And a lot of people don't realize that. And, they think, oh, we're creating these tourism things and bringing all these people to our community. But you and I know, and I hope other people understand now, that those are the best kind of people in our community, because they come, they use minimal services and resources, they spend money, and then they go back home.
That's right. If you think of it this way, tourists or visitors are temporary taxpayers. They, as you said, they come in and maybe they're involved in a sports tournament. They stay here or a fishing tournament, for example. Sometimes our fishing tournaments, the anglers are here for over a week, or they may come a few weeks before and practice fishing and stay 2 or 3 days and then come back for the week-long tournament. So they're here a week to 10 days, and they spend the money. They leave the money here, and then when the tournament's over, they go back home. So we don't have to provide any permanent services for them. We don't have to build any new schools for the visitors. We don't have to build any new roads for the visitors, at least at the beginning anyway, until things get so, busy. But we don't have to provide those, those permanent services that we would do for our residents. So it doesn't cost really any additional money to have visitors here, but the city, the county, the state, and our local businesses, most importantly, gain a valuable revenue from the visitors being here.
100%. Hey, if you're just tuning in with us and you have questions for Barry or myself, you can certainly ask those in the comments. We'll do our best to answer those at the end. Barry, I wanted to ask you a little bit. You mentioned, and I dropped in the comments the 3 things you mentioned: scenic beauty, historic sites, and then music. We've touched on a little bit of those, but let's talk about the historic sites. A lot of those have closed, and I know tourism usually does the historic sites kickoff. Is that happening this year, and when is it happening?
Good question. It is happening. It was originally scheduled for April 4th, and we had to postpone it due to COVID-19. Then we moved it to June 6th, and again, we postponed it. But it is going to happen on Saturday, June 20th, which that's this Saturday.
That's this weekend. Yay.
Wow, time flies. I was thinking it was Saturday after this one, but it's this Saturday. It's going to happen June 20th, and I do have the list of participating historic sites. Some of them are not participating this year just for the fact they're not ready yet, or due to social distancing, we don't want to try to draw huge crowds in a very small historic site. So some of them are not participating, but here we have a long list that are participating. So here we go. Bledsoe Ford Historical Park. I think they're going to have the Rogan Cottage open out there in Castellan Springs, Saturday, June 20th. Wynwood, Cragfont. That's all out in Castellan Springs, as I'm sure most of your viewers are familiar. Rosemont in Gallatin is participating. Historic Stonewall, the Sumner County Museum. Those are all in Gallatin. Monthaven Arts and Cultural Center there in Hendersonville. Rock Castle in Hendersonville, and then the Days Gone By Museum in Portland. Those are all participating Saturday, June 20th, and I would encourage our viewers to go to our website, visit sumnertn.com. You can click on event calendar, and there's an event listing there for the historic sites kickoff. And if you'll click on that, it'll tell you all the times and other pertinent information about each site that is participating Saturday.
Awesome. And I dropped those in the comments, that list. I typed them really fast. So if there's any misspellings, I'm sorry. I do know how to spell all of those. And then I also put in the website. Taryn is watching with us, and she says only the grounds at Wynwood State Historic Site and Cragfont State Historic Site will be open during the kickoff, which still worthy of seeing because the grounds at both of those sites are absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. And Taryn is our marketing manager and our historic site manager, and she knows a lot more about this than I do. So I'm glad she's watching to correct me. But yes, a lot of these sites have beautiful grounds, and you could basically, have a picnic out on the grounds on Saturday. And we want to invite everybody to come out and visit those sites that are open.
Now, the sites that are open, do they have? Is there a cost associated with it, or is it free on opening day, or does it vary?
I believe it varies. I'm sure Taryn will correct me if I'm wrong. I think some of them are free, some of them will charge, but the charges for these historic sites are very minimal, and they all the funds go to a great cause to keep those sites operating. So we would encourage everybody to visit. And I use this example also with myself. I lived around Memphis, Tennessee most of my life until I got married and moved to Middle Tennessee. But I never visited Graceland while I was younger because it was so close. Everybody knew Graceland was there. It's like, okay, no big deal. Elvis lived there. And I did not visit Graceland until I got into the tourism business, and I had a convention in Memphis, and I went. And it's kind of the same here. We take for granted some of our assets that we have here, like our historic sites, and maybe you haven't been to all the historic sites. And let me tell you, Kim, and you know this, I grew up in West Tennessee, and we didn't have any historic sites in my county. And gosh, we've got like over a dozen here in one county, Sumner County. We are blessed to have so many historic sites in one county. And I want to encourage all of our viewers today to take advantage of that and go out, maybe do a staycation and visit some of the sites here right in your own county.
I would echo that, Barry. And, I know my family and I, we spend a lot of time at the historic sites, but that has a lot to do with what we do. But we also really love it. And we love taking the kids. Hayden, he's 14. I think he's grown up going to almost all the open houses in the spring and holiday open houses. And I think it's really important, especially for children, to be exposed to these sites early on to kind of create that desire to learn more about history and stay engaged in our community. So this is a great opportunity to do that. The weather forecast for this weekend looks great. And Taryn did mention that almost all of them are free, and the ones that aren't are only $5. And it goes to a great cause. We can't preserve our history here in Sumner County without our citizens and tourists visiting them and giving back. So I think it's a great weekend to get out and explore our city and our county.
Absolutely. And just to go back to the scenic beauty and the lake, speaking of my family, this past Saturday, my wife and I took our two granddaughters, ages 2 and 4, out to the lake, to one of the parks, and we had a little picnic. And gosh, the lake was very busy this past Saturday. Boats were everywhere. There were jet skis and kayaks and big boats and little boats. And my granddaughters had never really seen in person boats and kayaks and things on the water like that. So we really had a big time, and they want to come back already and enjoy the lake.
Yes, absolutely. And there are a lot of places you can put in the lake. If you're not a boat owner, there are some places you can rent. Bledsoe Creek State Park has rentals for kayaks and paddle boards. And then we also have a chamber member that rents paddle boards, and they also do yoga on paddle boards. Have you ever tried that, Barry?
No, I haven't. I'm probably going to leave that to the younger generation, but I do love the water, and I love to swim, and I love to be on a boat. I'm not sure about the yoga on a paddle board, though.
I know. I asked if they'd hoist me on and off. I'm not sure that if I fell off, I'm not sure I can get back on it in the water. So,
well, I'm sure I couldn't get back on. That's for sure. So,
well, awesome. Well, Barry, and Taryn, thank you for chiming in and helping keep Barry straight. I know that's a tough job.
It is. It's very tough. Very tough.
Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share or add that you think the community should know or hear at this time?
Well, I did. Is it okay? I've had a lot of questions this week, and I'm sure that we'll have even more questions next week about July 4th and any activities in the county. Is it okay to talk about that?
Absolutely. That's important.
Well, we'll start with the big G, Gallatin. And Kim, I'm going with information here that I believe is correct, but if you hear anything that doesn't sound correct, please stop me and let's make sure we get the right stuff here. Gallatin on July 4th, fireworks will be held at 9 p.m. for the 4th of July. This year's show won't be accompanied by a festival or any vendors, but Triple Creek Park will be open for parking and viewing. Social distancing is encouraged, but will be the attendees' responsibility. Is that pretty much the way you see it?
That is correct. And I'll go ahead and add that the fireworks show will last about 22 minutes, and there will be 1,163 shells fired off.
So. Wow. And that is actually on the 4th of July, which I believe is on a Saturday this year. Is that right?
That is right. It's a rare occasion, but so you have the whole weekend. I think some people maybe take off Friday or Monday or both. So lots of time for festivities and whatever you choose to do. But yes, you're right. The park will be open, and you can stay in your car, roll down the windows, pop a lawn chair out next to it. But I think everybody can take their own responsibility to do what they need to do to stay safe.
Now, let's move on to Hendersonville. And of course, they usually have what's called the Freedom Festival on July 3rd, the day before the 4th. And the official Freedom Festival has been canceled this year. However, the Parks Department is going to have some fireworks, and they're actually going to have some music, live music that starts at 6 o'clock. The gates are going to open at 5:30. But the thing with this Freedom Festival is you have to have a ticket to get in, and they're limiting the tickets to the first 2,000 people. Why are they doing that? Social distancing and the governor's guidelines on having festivals and events. Is it okay to give out the place where you can get tickets? You're familiar with Bitly, right? It was bit.ly/Hville SSG 2020. And that SSG stands for Stripes, Stars, and Guitars. That's what they're calling it this year.
I like it.
I was told that the Bitly and the Hendersonville have to be capitalized. So you might just want to use all caps. I'm not sure, but it's Bitly.
If Taryn's still watching and can copy and paste the link in there, I'll let her do that.
It's bit.ly/Hville SSG 2020. But they're going to have the gates open at 5:30, music at 6. They're going to have food vendors, but no other vendors. Fireworks will start at 9 o'clock. And I have been told that they have bought some extra large fireworks shells, so they'll go up a little higher than normal, so people out in the city can view it from afar, I guess is the best way to say it. Now, I did do some research, and I'm sure that you or Taryn will correct me if I'm wrong. I did a little research on the other communities in the county. Westmoreland normally has what they call a Freedom Fest, and it has been canceled this year. Also, Goodlettsville has their Independence Day celebration on July 4th in Moss Wright Park, and that has been canceled this year. And White House usually has their Americana Festival, and that has been canceled. And then Portland, if you'll recall, Portland doesn't have an official city or chamber event, but usually Signature Healthcare there in Portland has fireworks. And I talked to the chamber today. They have not heard anything about that, so we're assuming it's been canceled. There are 2 smaller events in the Portland area, though, that will happen. July 3rd at Top of the Ridge, they're going to have food and vendors. That's out at Bottom View Farm. And then on July 11th, in the little community of Mitchellville, which is right there by Portland, they're going to have a celebration on July 11th, and they're going to have some bands playing music. So that's all the information I have. So if you can, just to recap, Kim, it looks like Hendersonville and Gallatin are the only 2 communities in the county that are going to have a large fireworks display.
I think you're right, and that's what I have heard too. I know I talked to some of the other chambers and other communities over the past few days, and these are really tough decisions that everybody's making. And I know that everybody has mixed feelings about these, happening or not happening. And we've kept saying, just show a lot of grace and just understand that leaders and organizations are having to make tremendously difficult decisions during these times for their own organizations. I mean, some of these that you mentioned are usually fundraising events, like when there's a festival associated with it. Even Gallatin's. I mean, when Gallatin normally has a festival, those funds go to nonprofits in the community. And so there's a lot of people, there's much more at play than just people missing out on fireworks. There's dollars that help support local organizations being lost this year. And then I know that there's some other smaller community organizations, some of the neighborhoods and HOAs in the community, and that's still up in the air. And I know you guys have Now Playing Sumner, which you should probably talk about in a second before we wrap up. And then we also have the chamber calendar, which I think our website's scrolling at the bottom. And so we try to keep try to keep up with what's going on in the community. So as we hear other things and other events happening, we'll be sure to update that on our calendar, as I'm sure you will as well. Tell us about Now Playing Sumner.
Yeah, Now Playing Sumner is our official event calendar for the county, and it's hooked into the Now Playing Nashville calendar. So there's lots of events on there. There's 2 ways you can get to it, actually 3 ways. But if you go to our website, visit sumnertn.com, and click on event calendar, that shows the events in Sumner County from that calendar. You can also get to it by going to nowplayingsumner.com, or you can go to nowplayingnashville.com. Of course, nowplayingnashville.com is going to show all the events all over the Nashville area. So if you wanted to fine tune it a little bit, go to our website or go to the nowplayingsumner.com, and that will tell you all the events that are happening in the county. I did want to mention one other big event that most people don't know about that's going to happen in Gallatin the end of July. I don't know if you know about this yet, Kim, but the Ladies National Golf Association is having their amateur championship at Grasslands on the Foxland Links course there in Gallatin, July 27 through 29. So we'll have a lot of ladies coming here to play golf from out of town, and they'll be from all over the place because it's the Ladies National Golf Association. That's an event that we're sponsoring. So that'll bring in lots of visitors, lady golfers there, July 27 through 29.
And that's so exciting. Again, those temporary residents, right? Coming in for a little while.
And you know, golf, when we talked about our outdoor activities, and we are so blessed, we have a number of both public and private golf courses in the county. You know, once again, West Tennessee, where I grew up, we had one golf course, and that was it. And of course, it's closed now. They don't even have a golf course. And how many courses do we have here? We have at least 7 or 8 courses when you count the private and public together.
Yeah, we have 4 in Gallatin. So
absolutely. So golf is one of the sports that really hasn't been affected much by COVID-19 because you can go out to the golf course by yourself basically and play golf. I think the only thing that I've heard is they limit, one person per golf cart. If there's, obviously if you're not playing with somebody that you're with, like your spouse or your friend, you have to do 1 person per golf cart. But other than that, golf has not been affected very much. And that's a great blessing that we have here also with all the golf courses we have.
Absolutely. Well, Barry, we appreciate you joining us today. And we so appreciate everything you and your team are doing during these times to keep everybody in the know and keep people coming into Sumner County. We really appreciate that. We know this has been a challenging time, especially for tourism.
It has been, but we're working real hard. Of course, we're working with you guys. We're all a big team, and we're trying to do everything we can to promote tourism, to get folks to come in here and spend their money. And that's going to help the economy. That's going to help our local businesses. And that's going to help us get back on track. So thanks for having me, and have a great day.
Awesome. Hey, y'all have a great day too. And thank you again, Barry. We'll be back on Thursday with the C Show at 10 a.m. live on the Chamber's Facebook page. So be sure to tune in and have a great day.